if you run a gym or an online fitness business and you're stuck around, say, $10,000 to $30,000 a month in revenue, or you're just not growing at the pace that you want to grow, then I want to point out for you 5 metrics you have to be tracking. These numbers will tell you the health of your sales funnel. I'm Jeff Burlingame, and I help business owners get unstuck by diagnosing their sales funnels. And I'm going to help you do this yourself right now. Doesn't take that long, and again, you only need 5 numbers to know where you stand. I'm going to show you how to find those numbers in this video and then give you some standard values of what they should be so that you can compare your numbers against those and determine the health of your sales funnel. So let's get into it. What are the 5 numbers? The first number is leads. So what we need to know in order to diagnose this portion of the sales funnel is we need to know how many leads you brought in last month. So look at the previous running month and let me know how many new leads or prospects came into your system or your sales funnel. Keep in mind the definition of leads. Now I'm going to pull this from Alex Hormozi's $100 Million Offers book and $100 Million Leads book. What is a lead? A lead is somebody who has shown interest and provided you with their contact information. So they didn't just hit your website or drop a comment or anything like that. You have their email address, you have their phone number, they filled out a form, they click through an ad or something like that. That would count as a lead. If you're not tracking these right now or you don't run with a CRM system, then I would recommend that you start tracking them now. If you can't pull that data from last month, start pulling it for this month, and when this month is up, you'll have the numbers. Moving down the funnel, we go to your set appointments. So this is your actual sales call, sales opportunity here. They filled out a form and they booked a call with you, or you reached out to them after getting their contact info and you were able to book an appointment. So our funnel is getting more narrow as we go down. We start with the big number, your leads up top. Then we go to your set appointments. Then we go to your show rate. So we got an appointment booked. That doesn't mean that they're going to show up. If they show up, that counts as a show. So we move further down the funnel. There's going to be a smaller number than your leads number booking appointments, and a smaller number than your set number is going to actually show up. And a smaller number than that is going to actually close or sign up. So these are our main sales funnel metrics. We need to be tracking these monthly, if not weekly, depending on the volume that you're drawing in through your gym. If we don't track these, we're missing out on a huge opportunity to diagnose our sales funnel and prevent bottlenecks or prevent being stagnant in terms of our numbers. Finally, the last number we want to figure out is we exit the funnel, they become a client. Now we have one more big metric, and that is called churn. Churn is a great health metric for any service-based business. We want to know how many clients we are losing compared against the clients that we retain. And if we can keep that number low, that actually plays in as a sales metric. It is just a late stage sales metric. Ideally, keeping these numbers high and this number low means you have a very healthy business. Let's look at the numbers real quick. Again, how do we calculate this? Leads. Every single person that has shown interest in your business and provided contact information. Just tally that up, use your CRM, do the math on that. Set appointments, every single one of these that actually booked a call. Show appointment, every single one of these booked appointments that actually showed up. Closed appointment, meaning every single one that showed up and closed. From here, churn rate, this is the only one where you actually have to do a calculation, but you can set this up pretty easily in a spreadsheet and calculate it really fast. Or a lot of CRMs actually offer this as a metric that you can track as well. So churn is actually a pretty simple equation where we're going to take the number of lost clients. So lost clients from last month. We're going to divide that by starting number of clients for that month. How many clients did you start with? So let's say for simple math, I lost 10 clients last month. I started the month at 100. So it'd be 10 divided by 100. And then in order to make sure that we get a percentage out of this, we're going to multiply that number by 100, giving us a nice round percentage number. So I'm sure my math nerds figure this out really fast. If this number is 10 lost over 100 clients at start multiplied by 100, then you're going to get 10. And my super math nerds know that 100 cancels out because you just put 100 over 1. So it becomes 10 over 1, which is 10. 10%. So that would be your churn rate. Now, is that good or bad? Well, that depends on the industry. In the fitness industry, an excellent churn rate would be around 5% at mid-volume clubs. If we're at a high volume club, so if you're rocking 500 plus members, it's more realistically going to be 10 maybe even 15%, but we would want to keep it as low as humanly possible. If you're running a micro gym or a personal training business, we want 5% or less, ideally less. So there's your gold standard, 5% or less on churn. Do the math, figure out where you're at. Again, right now we're just diagnosing. Once we have this information, we can take action and work to improve that number. Churn is going to be improved by working on your retention systems, building out your operations, improving coach education, making sure your clients are happy. There's a lot of stuff that we can do once we know we have a problem. But first, we have to figure out if the ship is actually sinking. Okay, so let's look at some gold standards, and then I want you to do the math and do the research on your own business. And once you have these numbers, compare it against the standards. Standards for leads is a bit misleading because I could tell you should be drawing in 100 leads, but I don't know where your gym is located. I don't know if you're putting out Facebook ads. If you are putting out ads, I don't know how much money you're investing or willing to invest into those ads. And if you're doing any sort of organic outreach or content posting, I don't know if you have calls to action or how good those calls to action are or how effective they are. What I will say is this, your leads are going to be proportionate to your churn. So if I'm stuck at a 10% churn, I need to replace those clients. If 10% churn means I'm losing 10 clients a month at my 100 client gym or my 100 client online fitness business, that means I need to replace 10 clients. Now, once we know this information, we can better determine how many leads we need to have. So we're going to finish the video with that number. From leads, let's just take a look at set. Our standards for set, show, and close, we're going to look at as a percentage. It's the easiest way to do it because that way it scales depending on the size of your business. When we look at set, this percentage should be pretty high. Now, I know a lot of people out there are thinking, but I run ads, but I have cold traffic. Here's the thing. Even if you're running ads, that is not directly cold traffic. Now, if you're sending cold DMs to people who have never seen any of your content, that's a slightly different thing. But if it's an ad and someone clicked through, they filled out a form, there's interest there. And with ads, they are also most likely doing the research after they click through that ad. So they might fill out the form and then click through to your page, or click through to your page and then fill out the form. Most likely they're interacting with some form of your content. They're getting to know you a little bit more. That's not a cold lead. That is a lukewarm, at worst, kind of lead. So with that in mind, as long as we're not sending out a large volume of cold DMs, you are probably dealing with lukewarm to warm traffic. Now with that said, what I'd love to see in terms of a set rate with a high performing ad and with good organic content and great calls to action, a perfect score would be 80%. And anybody who's interacting and has provided you with contact information, you should be setting 80% of them. Now, that might seem like a push. I will say this can sliding scale down to around 60% if you're doing a lot of cold work as well. But this should not be an insanely low number, not in our industry. So if you're running a gym and you've got the local opportunity, if you're running an online fitness business and you're engaging people within your content, that number should be pretty high if you've got their contact info. Again, this is not just people who pressed a like button or dropped a comment and never continued the conversation from there and never gave you an email or a phone number. These are people who have provided those contact details. So that's a big step. 80%, best case scenario, worst case scenario, 60% should not be lower than that. Show rate is also going to be pretty similar. So I often see within gyms and online fitness business a show rate of 50% or less. That is a problem. That is a underperforming sales funnel and process. So what you really should see, again, a perfect score is around 80%. If they book a call, they should be showing up to the call. I have operated many businesses that have an 80 to even 100% show rate depending on the month. So as long as our process is designed to get people excited to show up for the appointment and actually see what this is all about, or if we're providing value because they show up for the appointment, like a guide or something, then we can have a bigger draw and we can more easily achieve that 80% show rate. Again, I'm gonna call that your gold standard. Your bronze standard, if you will, is gonna be around 60%. Now, to me, again, that is an underperforming sales funnel. That is where we need to work on improving that process. That brings us to close, making the sale. Now, this is a big one that also has a pretty wide range based on your skill set, your offer, and your sales process, the actual questions that you're asking them once they show up for the sales appointment. So let's assume that you have a base set of sales skills, that you're comfortable talking to people, you're a people person, you're likable, and you have a decent process. Then what I'd love to see again here would be around 60%. We're actually going to just set the standard right there. Let's put a little asterisk on this one because here's the deal. Your high performers should be closing around 80% with organic traffic. Paid traffic is always going to knock that down a little bit because even though they're interested, they're a lukewarm lead, it is more challenging to close those leads. Organic, like referrals, people you met at events, people that you've actually engaged with in person, dropped in for a free friend day, or have spoken with you online for more than one interaction. Those are much more warmed up. You're going to close a higher percentage of those. Higher performers closing 80% is something that I like to look at as a gold standard. Underperformers closing under 50% is more related to their selling skills, probably the offer and also the sales process. So again, by knowing these numbers, I can quickly diagnose a business and tell you what's probably wrong. And then if I can actually peek under the hood and take a look at what your process is, interview some of your staff, that's where I more easily can say, oh, it's a selling skill issue. Oh, they don't know how to handle objections. Oh, they're not following up with leads. Oh, your sales process leaves a lot to be desired. Or, oh, your offer is something that is not that irresistible. It's actually pretty resistible. So it's going to be hard to close on that. Notice I didn't say high performers close at 100%. That's because nobody should close at 100%. You should be priced appropriately enough that not everybody can afford your services. Otherwise, you would be just flooded with traffic and you're, because of that, going to bring in a lot of the wrong members. Having the wrong members in your business can create a toxic environment and cause a lot of problems. So that's something I wouldn't want for you. So to me, 100% is not a good closing metric. It's actually something that presents more of a challenge. I want to see that 60 or at best 80%. That shows me that my sales team is doing their job. Just keep in mind, not everybody is right for your business, and that's okay. Finally, we get to our churn rate. So churn, we already talked about a little bit. If you are in the gym business, micro gym business, not super high volume. So if you add a 24/7 option to your gym, this number will absolutely go up. And you should still attempt to keep it as low as humanly possible, of course. But with a 24/7 access option, you're probably looking closer to 10 to 15% as a decent churn rate. Whereas with my micro gym owners, with my online fitness business, with my one-to-ones, you are looking at 5% or less. It should be less, okay? But we'll just set that as the gold standard, 5%. So now that you know these numbers, we can actually work backwards with churn to figure out what your lead metric should be. We do some easy math with this. Let's call it 5% churn on a 100 member business. So I have 100 clients. I have a 5% churn. That means every month I'm likely losing 5 clients. So if I'm at -5 at the end of the month, I need a +5 just to be even for the next month. But that's stagnation. We're not growing. So we actually really want to 2x that at a minimum. So for every 5 I lose, I want to gain 10 clients. Gaining 10 clients, easier said than done. But if I know my sales numbers here, if I know set, show, and close, I can work backwards, I can do the math, and I can determine the number of leads that I need to have, my lead volume. So if I know that I need to double my churn to gain ground, to grow, then I can start at this number. Of course, I could look higher. I could try to triple that too and go for 15, for example. But let's start here, easy math. So knowing these gold standard numbers, the percentages, we can work backwards really easy to come up with the number we need to attempt to close, that we need to show, that we need to set, and all the way back up to how many leads do we need to get to that point. So if we know that we close at 60% and we need to gain 10 clients, then that means we just go 10 divided by 0.6. 10 divided by 0.6 gives you 16.6, which is not a real number, so we call it, round up, 17. So I need to attempt to close 17. That means 17 is my show. I need 17 people to show up to close 10 new clients. With me? Awesome, let's keep it going. So we keep working up, right? So to get 17 people to show, if I'm at 80% for my set rate, then I need to set how many appointments? It's going to be 17 divided by 0.8. Now, I am not amazing at math, but I can use a phone to calculate that. So 17 divided by 0.8 gives me 21.25. Now again, not a whole number. So what do? We round up. So we need 22. So my set now, let's clean this up. We'll push this over here. I need 22 set appointments in order to achieve 17 show and 10 close, right? So 22, 17, 10. With me so far? All right, one more number. It's going to be right here. We're going to our leads. So if I need 22 to set, and I set at 80%, I set 80% of my leads, 22 divided by 0.8, we go to our calculator, 22 over 0.8, and that gives us 27.5, which means the actual number is 28. So if I can get 28 leads, I can set 22 of them, 17 of those are going to show up, and 10 of them are going to close. I've now battled back against my churn rate. This is the magic of numbers. If you know these numbers, it's not a guessing game. How tired are you of sitting around the gym, twiddling your thumbs, saying, where are my sales opportunities? I'm losing clients. How am I going to get more? The easier thing to do is to be aware, problem aware, and solution aware. So if I know my problem is I have a churn rate, I've got to do something to combat that, then I can just work backwards and say, okay, in order to defeat the churn, what I'm going to do is get 28 leads. And now it just comes down to, how do I get 28 leads? So if we know that we need 28 leads, now we just got to go talk to people. We have to make those connections. We should engage with people in the comments on our social media. We should go draw a 5-mile radius around us and go meet business owners in related businesses that have our clients. We should work with them. We should offer seminars. We can get out there, we can produce webinars and invite people to them. We can join Facebook groups where our clients are going. If you're not sure, ask your current clients where they're going and what they're doing and who they're talking to and where they're hanging out, and then try to put yourself there. If you do this, if you take action, even without cold DMs, even without Facebook ads, you're going to make engagements. And eventually, you're going to figure out your handshake number. And that handshake number is going to tell you, like, if I need 28 leads being people interested, qualified, and providing me with a contact, I need to talk to or shake hands with 35 people. Because if I shake hands with 35 people, 7 may not be a good fit, but 28 will be. And again, I'm not going to sign up all 28. I'm going to sign up 10. So it doesn't matter. But I need these 28 to enter the sales funnel to give me a chance. So there you go. There's a bit of math. This is the math of the sales funnel. The good news is it's actually not a lot of numbers. You've got lead, set, show, close, churn. If I know those 5 numbers, those 5 metrics, I track them every single month, then I can tell why I underperform one month and why I overperform another month. And then I can create consistency by tracking the data and making sure that I'm shooting for that 80%. We didn't hit 80% set this month. We hit 60. Let's work on that. Let's work on our automations. Let's give more personal outreach. Let's send a video confirmation message to someone or a voice message. Make it more personal and improve that set rate. Show rates down, we're at 60% or less. Let's provide more value up front. Let's offer them a free guide for showing up. Let's offer them a free shirt, a drink, or something, a small investment. Let's provide some sort of value that makes it worth them actually showing up and taking that time. We're not closing at 60% or higher. Let's work on our selling skills. Let's role play more. Let's dial in our sales process. Let's work on the problem, which is making it easier for them to say yes. Maybe we need to improve our offer. That's something we can work on. Churn rate is raised above 5%. Let's work on our retention systems. Let's have an event. Let's have a challenge for everybody in the gym. Let's create more celebration around our members and let's shout them out on social media. You have to know the numbers, though, in order to determine if you even have a problem. So instead of sitting there and being frustrated with your business not growing, figure out these numbers. And if you need help with that, I am here to help as well. So feel free to shoot me a message, shoot us an email, jeff@coachburley.com, and we can help you figure this out. You can even just send me what numbers you did last month, and I can compare them for you if you want to. But a little bit of simple math, just get your phone calculator out. You can knock this out in about 30 minutes and you can have crystal clear vision for your business on what you need to do next. Thank you so much for watching this video, you guys. I really hope this was helpful for you and that you're having a good day and a great month in business is ahead for you. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to smash that like, share this with any of your business owner friends so that they too can go figure out these metrics and improve their business, and stay subscribed for more content like this. And we'll catch you on the next video.